I'm Emery. You're watching Data Viz on the Go, the series where I make quick tutorials as I'm racing around between workshops and webinars and consulting deadlines. Hello from Atlanta. I'm teaching a full day workshop here tomorrow. But today I wanted to talk to you about showing more dates, not fewer. I made up a pretend data set for us, and I'm pretending that we've got data every day for the past decade. So I started with pretend 2015 data and filled in all sorts of pretend numbers down here. Now, some groups I work with, they don't have data this often. They have data maybe every year from grantee reports, or maybe they have data every year from annual surveys. But other groups I work with, they do have data this frequently. I'm thinking of hospitals, they collect all sorts of data every day or more often. Universities have data like this where it's coming in every single day. A lot of government agencies, federal, state, and local, do have data like this coming in every day. I'm thinking of like public health outbreak monitoring data where they're getting in numbers all the time to see what's going on. And sometimes those groups that have all this data coming at them, they are hesitant. They're hesitant to show all of it because they don't want to overwhelm people with so much data. And I totally get it. I don't want you to overwhelm people with so much data either. So what I often see is people have all these numbers and they're like, well, I'm going to simplify it. Okay. And then they just show one day. They just show like the most recent point in time or an interesting point in time, and they just show one number. And one number doesn't tell us anything. We need at least two numbers to make a helpful, useful, accurate graph, at least two, so that we have a little bit of context, a comparison point. Preferably not just 2 points in time, like 3 or 4 or 5 or all of them to really show truthfully what's been going on. So at a bare minimum, show more points in time, maybe a month. Then the line looks kind of flat and it's like, I don't know, maybe that's not interesting. Well, try more. Try showing more data. Look back at the past year. Now you can see, oh, the line's actually going up slightly. We've got more context. We can start thinking about what's going on? What was causing that line to go up or down? Or why is it still flat? Why is it zigzaggy? It starts to bring up some questions that you can talk to your group about. If you've got years and years of data, show years and years of data. Do you see how it's more informative now? You're like, oh, look, it went down and then back up. We've got kind of a Nike swoosh pattern going on. Sometimes people are hesitant to show all this because they don't want their graph to look like this. And I don't want that for you either. Okay. I want you to show all the data in the body of the graph, but make sure that your scale down below is nice and legible. Maybe you just label the beginning of each year. And if you're an Excel user, I love everyday software. I try to choose the most common denominator that everybody has access to. If you're an Excel user, you're just going to click on the really messy dates, and then you're going to see that rectangle around the outside. You do a right click. That's a good rule in Excel. Right click on the thing that you're trying to edit. Another rule in Excel is you can ignore all these words, ignore all that jargon. The thing that you need is usually at the very bottom of the list. So you don't even have to memorize what it's called. Okay, I'll click on that one and then it pulls up already the format axis sidebar. You can adjust things like the minimum and maximum, like your starting date and your ending date. And then you can play around with the units so that you're not getting a little label every day, but every year. So play around with your scale so that everything is, it's nice and readable. It's not overlapping. Everything's nice and horizontal. There's enough breathing room in between the dates. Hopefully, I've convinced you to graph more points in time, not fewer, or at least just, got you thinking about this. That's my wish. If you can think of an exception to this rule, please comment and let me know. This is something I think about all the time. I think about when would it be better for decision makers, better for policymakers, better for people looking at your data to not have all that context? When would it be better to just show them one day or 1 week of data? I can't think of any. I can't think of any time it would be more informative, more truthful to only show a little blip versus a longer time span. You tell me. Help me think this one through. I look forward to reading through all your responses.